Hello Snigdha. Hello Shrestha. Thank you. Thank you Snigdha. So we'll just wait for 2 minutes, okay, before we start. So let's just hold on. What's the time right now? It's 7:31, right? So we'll start at 7:33. We shall start. Hello Shrestha. Okay, I've kept the phone in a way that I can't see the comments properly for some reason. It's better, I guess. Yeah. Hello, Rani. I think I saw Nivedita also. Hello, Nivedita. Okay, thank you everyone for joining, and I would be referring to my laptop. Shop Shundor Moner Manush Dekhi. Hello to everyone. Okay, so I will be referring to my laptop a little bit today because bereavement is it's a grave process and it includes many layers, and when I plan a live I put down certain points which I will be referring to, and I'm going to refer to my laptop's bits and pieces whenever it's required. Okay, so you might see this halogen light coming. How you look beautiful every possible way, like how? Okay, that is the kamal is of the lights, probably nothing else. I think it's 7:33. Is it? Yeah, 7:33. I think we can start and people can join in slowly and steadily. So this morning when I shared the poster of bereavement, I got a lot of questions coming up that what is it? What is the bereavement process? What is it all about? Many people have not heard about the term called bereavement, which is absolutely okay. It is not a very simple term. It comes with a lot of meaning. So anyone who is watching me live right now, do you know what is bereavement? Anyone who is watching me live? So Shrestha, Nivedita, Snigdha, Ananya, Chandrani. What is the meaning of bereavement? Okay. I will answer, but I'm just checking if anybody is aware of the meaning of bereavement. Yes, Ananya is aware. So Ananya, can you please tell us what is bereavement, and probably I can add on to that. I'll just take it very slow because the process of bereavement is very slow. So I'll just give about trust key. No, Snigdha, bereavement is not trust. Grief process, I suppose. Yes, Nivedita, you're right. Grief process. And anything else? Ananya, if you want to add, or Chandrani, if you want to add, of losing a close one. Yes, grieving the death or loss of a loved one. Yes, absolutely. So bereavement is the wholesome or the complete process of coping with the loss of a loved one or a closed one, not necessarily loved one, but a closed one, or a family member or a friend or anybody who is dear to you. Okay, so why this such a complicated name, bereavement? It could be grief, it could have been something else, because the process of bereavement is actually a little bit more complicated. Now, the reason why I'm doing this session today is many of us have lost very close people to COVID. We have lost many people, even before that also, but due to in the last 1.5 year, many of us have lost many people to COVID, and we were not prepared for that. I have lost many people. I know there are people here who have lost, closed ones. So this bereavement is the process of grieving, the process of going through or coping with the loss that you have suddenly encountered, or even with the, even if you know that the person is going to pass away, still you go through the process of bereavement. Now, why is it important? Because when I'm going through bereavement or grief, it can shake the foundation of our life. Why it can shake the foundation of our life? Because just imagine, I am with a person 24/7, or let's say 8 hours a day, because I'm working outside. And when I come back home, the person is there. Whenever I come back to a place where the closed one is there, and suddenly the person is not there anymore. So there is this vacuum. The person was there, the person is not there. Exactly what happened when we lost many people to COVID. The person was there and just not there now, and you are still, your entire foundation is shaken up. You don't know how to get yourself accustomed to this loss. This vacuum, this silence, especially for people who, there were two people in the family and one of them is gone. This silence kind of eats you up from within. You cannot imagine. You may love silence, but the sudden absence of something in your life, your entire foundation, your entire routine, everything is shaken up. That's why grief has been a subject that has been studied from different angles with respect to psychology. So basically my normality is somewhere shaken up. I am no longer normal. I don't feel normal because I'm just not able to maintain the balance in my body, in my mind, in my spirit. So bereavement is the total process or the duration of the process that we how to overcome from the situation. Is there any way? Yes, that is exactly what we are going to discuss today, Shrestha. So bereavement is the entire duration that we take to cope with this loss. So it starts from the day the person has passed away till the time we have come to terms with the reality. The entire process is bereavement. Yes, there are ways to overcome, but it is different. Like, the way is similar. I'm going to show you. I think I can turn the camera. Is there a way to turn the camera? I think so, yes. So I can turn the camera and I'm going to show certain things because it's very complicated, yet everybody goes through it. Everyone goes through this cycle in their own pace. So bereavement is the process of realizing that what has happened, to acknowledging, and to finally coping with how to lead your life without the person. That is the entire process of bereavement. Okay. So now another word that comes with bereavement is called mourning. Okay. Anybody, can you tell me what is mourning? MOURNING. What is mourning for you? Anyone who knows what is mourning? Because it's a very important part of bereavement, Anybody who knows what's mourning? No one? Okay, I'll probably continue with my session then. I was just waiting if anybody would like to answer. In fact, I personally coping with the loss, maybe, kind of, yes. So mourning is basically an important part of bereavement which helps us to say the final goodbye to the person. Mourning is very important because I'm not talking about religion specific. I mean coming to terms with the situation. Yes, basically not coming to terms with the entire situation, but at least dealing with how to say goodbye to the person, the expression of sorrow, yes, how to say goodbye to the person and how to remember the person in future. So mourning starts from the time the person's funeral is happening. It starts from that time. And although we say that a lot of people are not allowed to go to the cremation ground and not allowed to see the entire process, but it is very important to see the process. And why? Because our brain is evidence based. We want to see evidence. So maybe I have seen people who have not gone through proper mourning, who have not gone through the entire aspect of mourning, like they did not take part in the funeral, and it became very difficult for them, and they kept on thinking that nahi wo to wapas aa jayega ya aa jayegi. They had this hope that the person will come back. But when you go there, when you see the body burning, when you being buried, whatever is the process. So when you go through the process, it is like an evidence. The visual evidence is getting into your brain. The person is no more. So this is very important. This is the first step of mourning, and it might be very traumatic, extremely traumatic experience, because I have gone through this. I have done this in case when my father passed away. It was a very difficult process, but this was very important and integral process of my bereavement. Otherwise, I always would have had the hope that he would come back. But when I have done everything with my own hands, I have the visual evidence in my eyes which is stored in my brain, and I know somewhere he's no more. But it takes time to come to terms with reality, as Ananya was saying, that it takes time for you to realize. The brain knows something, but your heart doesn't know something. So this connection between the brain and the heart is what is called mourning. And finally, then when you go through this entire process, which we are going to discuss what is the process, then finally you try to remember the person through his birthdays, through anniversaries, through any kind of other dates, to remember the person. So from the person to the journey, from the person to the memory of the person, this entire stretch is called mourning. And this is the most integral part of bereavement, because if there is no mourning, your bereavement will not be over or will not be complete. So now comes the next thing is, do all people or grieve in the same way? Like, do they have the same kind of mourning for that matter? The answer is no. The people do not have the same kind of mourning. There are two types of mourning. The one is called instrumental mourning, and the second one is called intuitive grieving. So instrumental grieving or mourning, or intuitive grieving or mourning. Instrumental grieving or mourning are those people who do not express their feelings or who do not express their grief, and they control their expression, and they like andar hi andar ghutna. That is what is called instrumental grieving. And the other one, which is intuitive grieving is when you express yourself, when you talk to people, when you share your feelings, and when you explore that the relationship, the person is lost, when you come to terms with mortality, that is called intuitive grieving. Now I want to ask one question to you all. What do you think, which kind of people would be able to recover faster? The one who do not express and control their emotions, or the one who expresses, understands and talks to people about the feeling that they are going through? Which kind of people will be able to recover faster? Both will be able to recover, but the duration I'm talking about, which one do you think? Instrumental grieving, where you control, or intuitive grieving, where you express? Which one do you think people will recover, the faster recovery? Anyone? Just a wild guess. Intuitive. Yes. Those who express their feelings. Yes, correct. Those who express their feelings, and there is a reason why, through expression. Absolutely. There is a reason why. Because somebody who is not expressing themselves, they are still not. Is it anyhow similar to losing people? We face some same thing. Yes, exactly. It's the same thing. So intuitive grieving, why it is important? Because when you're grieving intuitively, the connection between the brain and the heart has already happened. Now you're making the connection to your vocal cords. Now you're trying to express. But in case of instrumental grieving, the connection is not properly still built. That's why you are still not, you are still not not able to express yourself in words, or you don't want to express. You're trying to put everything close because you have other things to be taken care of. You're trying to repress. When you're trying to repress, of course, the recovery rate is higher. So yes, intuitive grieving, the recovery rate is faster, but in the long run, both of them recovers. But there are also people who, for a long period of time, they get into this trauma of this loss because they have not grieved intuitively. Okay. So what are these symptoms of grief? What can you see? Of course, intense sadness, intense pain, You feel empty, you feel hopelessness, you might see nightmares, you can see dream, you can even see the person, because there are tendencies to hallucinate the person also. You might not be able to understand yourself or your action, because their sense of identity is lost a little bit, in case your identity was also associated with the person who passed away. And you will not be able to remember anything happy. You are always remembering things which are very sad, which is very, it's always like the violin is playing at the background, although you are probably, it's a very happy day, but the violin is always playing in the background, because you just feel very hopeless. You just don't feel, what's the point of living, how will I'm going to survive? So these things are not there. This this preoccupation with the deceased person, with how you are going to, or preoccupation with their memories, these are all symptoms of grief. Now I'm going to talk about certain myths associated with bereavement, and I have written it down because these are the ones that has come up during my sessions. There was one question one of my client asked, that will the pain go away if you ignore it? And of course the answer is no. You can ignore for your life, but something which exists, it exists. You cannot ignore pain which exists within you. You can't do that, right? The next is, it's important to be strong in the face of loss. The answer is no, it's not. You are allowed to be broken, you're allowed to feel pathetic, you're allowed to feel sad, depressed, angry, everything. Because when you feel this plethora of emotions, you're actually letting go of, or building this connection between the brain and the heart. And if you keep on putting everything in the closet and just be prim and proper, just like those Hindi movies, nothing has happened, everything, हम लोग सहन कर लेंगे, धीरे धीरे we'll get used to it. No, you don't need to do that. Just be human. Whatever you feel, you might feel very angry, you might feel very sad, depressed, anything. So just feel everything. You are allowed to feel all your emotions, and all your emotions are valid. If you don't cry, it means you are not sorry about the loss. No, not everybody cries when they go through a loss. Some people have different methods or different ways of expressing themselves. So do not try to judge how a person would express themselves. Just because I am crying, that means I am more at grief and the other person is not crying because the person is not at grief. It's not like that. Everybody's mode of expression is different. Next is, grieving should last about a year. All right. There is no timeline about grief. Okay. Everybody has their own timeline. If whatever I'm going to share next, the cycle of grieving, it's different for different people. Few people can do it in 6 months. Few people can do it in 1 year. Few people can take 2 years. It's absolutely okay. But as long as you're in the cycle, we have to ensure you complete the cycle rather than leaving it midway, because then it becomes disastrous. Next one is, some people get change in their behavior. Yes, absolutely. They become very aggressive. They become very irritated. They don't like to listen to anybody because they are in this depressive state. They are not able to come to terms with reality. And they feel they have been wronged. Why me? Another common expression they feel. Another myth is, moving on with your life means you have forgotten about your loss. No. When you move on with your life, it just means that you have completed your journey from the person to the memory of the person. It's just a body. The spirit still lives. The mind and body is gone when you are burning the body or when you're burying the body. But the spirit is living. The spirit is moving to a different world. So when you are able to understand that and you're moving from the body of the person to the spirit of the person, you're actually completing the journey from the person to its memory. It does not mean that you have forgotten how important the person was in your life. Okay, so these are all myths. Now I want to show you something. Let me just make it a little bit bigger. I want to show you a cycle, the cycle of grief, which is Kubler-Ross grief cycle, and the most important cycle that everyone goes through. And I just see that if I can show it, I don't know how to do that though. How do you change the camera position? I think this, yeah. Can somebody tell me, is it visible? Can you guys see it? Then I will start explaining it a little bit. Is this visible? Yes, Chandrani, you are right. People get judged that they have forgotten the person. You know why? Because these people do not want to move on from their life, and if somebody is moving on, they have a problem with that, and it is very incorrect. Just like that, like I'm leading my life, I'm doing everything. Does that mean I've forgotten my father? No, he stays in my heart. I don't have to grieve every day in front of the picture for that. Okay, so Shrestha and Ananya says it is visible. So this is called Kubler-Ross grief cycle. Now, as you see, this thing, this cycle goes through ups and downs. You know, it's more like a sea wave. So I want to discuss this cycle because this is the same cycle you go through when you go through a breakup, when you go through anything where you feel you have been wronged. So it is any kind of grief. This is not only the bereavement grief, any grief that you have gone through. And it always starts with denial. Denial means what? Don't go by the actual word denial. It does not mean nahi wo zinda hai. It's not that. The denial means avoidance. You avoid that topic. You don't want to talk about that topic anymore. Because the moment you talk about it, you feel shattered. You're either going through confusion, that you don't know what has happened. Why is this happening to you? Or you may be highly elated. You might behave absolutely out of your character. Or you might be shocked. You might be absolutely shocked, so shocked that you don't talk to anybody for weeks. You don't do your regular household works or regular work like bathing or anything. Or fear. You're extremely afraid. And afraid of what, you know? Afraid of that same person who has passed away. I have gone through this fear. I loved my father like anything in my life. And when he passed away, I remember there were for 2-3 months I was going through this fear episode. I was so afraid that I might see him and I will not be able to take it. So the same person whom we loved so much, suddenly after their death, we are so afraid of that person. So this is all denial. The denial is that the person is gone and the person will not come back. The denial comes in these 5 stages, and not necessarily all of the 5 you will face. You might face any one of them, or any 2 of them, or 3 of them, or all 5 of them. Okay. The next one is anger. This is something which I think all of you understand, that you feel wronged. You feel, why me? Why I should have to go through this? So you feel frustrated. You feel irritated, or you have a lot of anxiety. You might have panic attacks. Suddenly at night, your body starts shaking. You have nightmares. You get, in midway of sleep, you just wake up with a very bad dream. You have palpitation at night. All these things happen because you're angry about the situation. Now, the third stage is bargaining. Now, bargaining is usually we see in case of people whom we know, this is something, बस एक और दिन के लिए उनको वापस दे दो, मुझे कुछ बातें अधूरी है वो करनी है. This is bargaining. Struggling to find the meaning, reaching out to others, telling one story, like काश वो टाइम मिल जाता, काश ये हो जाता. This is bargaining. So basically trying to get one more moment with that person. But the idea is you will never get that moment, and that's why I keep on saying you never know what's going to happen in your life next moment. So, and you can just have guilt for your entire life that why I did not do it, but it's not going to come back. So bargaining is one. The next one is depression. So as you see, we do not start at depression. We start at denial, then anger, then bargaining, and then depression. And depression means what? Overwhelming, helplessness, hostility, and flight. You will run away from everybody. You will become socially anxious. You will do all of that. And so if you now see something, this entire cycle, this denial, anger, bargaining, depression, not necessarily that you will go stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, stage 4. Sometimes you can be at 3 or 4 stages at the same time. You can be a little bit in denial and you can be angry. You can try to bargain and still be in depression. But this 4 just goes hand in hand. It is not a clear-cut cycle that you're moving from one to another. Sometimes it is just moving from, these are like 4 different steps and you're juggling between these 4. But once you're done with this 4, then comes the 5th one, which is acceptance. Now, what is acceptance? Exploring options, like how else you can remember the person without feeling guilty, without feeling overwhelmed. New plan in place, that how you will make the memory of the person a part of your life now instead of the person, and moving on. This is the Kubler-Ross grief cycle. And as Snigdha was asking, is it the same when when we lose people, do we go through the same thing? Yes, even when you're going through breakup, you go through all these phases, and this is a very accurate cycle. All of us go through it. But the thing is, can people simply accept the reality? Yes, people can, only if you are done with these 4 stages. Now that I am showing you these 4 stages, you would be able to understand in case you are stuck in any one of this or not. Yes, you can accept the reality. I have accepted the reality that my father is no more in person, but I also know that he is there in spirit. And trust me, I know that his power is even far more than what he was when he was in person. Now I can talk to him whenever I want to, and I know that we all have come into this world for certain tasks, and once we are done, we'll move out. That's okay. But I cannot stay and get stuck in this situation forever, because then when my time comes to leave the world, I should not be bargaining with my life. एक और दिन दे दो मुझे, और कुछ काम करना बाकी है. So complete your grief process, complete the entire process. But then it is important to accept the reality and move on. And why? Because you have certain tasks to complete. We all have been assigned certain roles in this life. Once you are done with your work, once your parents or your family or anybody or your friends are done with their work, they have left. But I am still left with my work, and I have to accept this. So this is the cycle, all right? Denial, anger, bargaining, depression, acceptance. So I'll just move it back to me. All right. Okay, just let me put it back. All right. So this is the cycle that we all go through. All right. So how do we cope? How do we move from these 4 things towards acceptance? First of all, I have to express my emotions. I have to go through it, the emotions once again and again and again, because at certain point of time the brain will stop feeling the pain. Remember, every pain that we feel, whether it's through accident or through anything, it is brain based. So if you really need to get over it, it also has to be here first. So once you go through the pain and everything, and slowly you start making a shift in your perspective, you can come to terms with reality. Otherwise, the entire world will be mourning, and the entire world will be going through the bereavement process forever if we have not been able to come to terms with reality. Right? So what are the steps? Taking one day at a time. Don't rush. Don't just rush. Take one day at a time. Take one moment at a time. Feel your feelings. Go through it. Don't move away. Don't repress it. Recognizing your emotions. Whatever emotions you're feeling, go through it. If it's anger, feel the anger, let it come out. If it's depression, if you're feeling sad, cry, but let it come out. You have to recognize your emotions, because it's step-by-step process, right? Getting out of the house. Don't get yourself locked in a room, especially in the place where you have spent time with the person, because you'll feel more traumatic. After a certain time, you need to move out of your house. That's why when I started going to work, my bereavement process became faster, because then I could take my mind off that. When I used to come back, I used to see my mother, who was staying the entire 24 hours in the same place. So my mother's bereavement process was much higher than mine. And slowly then over the weekends, I used to take her out and made her, come to terms with normality, like going out, going for a movie, my father passed out in the month of May. I made it a point after 5 months, I took her out to restaurants to have food, because it's okay. And we only have to break the taboo across the society. So she went out, she had food. When she started doing the same thing which she used to do when my father was alive, it was like coming to terms with reality. Initially there was guilt, but later on she came to terms with reality. Getting support from family and friends. There are 2 types of family members or friends. Somebody who will make you feel bad about because you're moving on, as Chandrani said, and some people will become your strength that please move on. I have had both the people in my family. I have also remembered there are certain those the stupid stereotypical behavior that you can't wear red when somebody passes away, especially when your husband. So I remember people making a lot of comments about my mother when my father went away, and my mother's favorite color is red. And I remember I was the person, I told her that this is your sari, you wear it, because the red color came into your life before my father came into your life. So the color has nothing to do with the existence of a person or not. So when you start being supportive to the person actually feels a little bit, there is a hope that's waiting for you in the dark. So yeah, that's the one. Let people grieve in their own way. Just because you are grieving in some way, don't force another person to grieve in the same way. All right. Cope with your home, the same place where you have spent a lot of time. Just become very happy. Some people gossip rubbish word against that person. Yes, let them do. कुछ तो लोग कहेंगे. लोगों का काम है कहना. Let them speak whatever they want to. But at the end of the day, you have to lead your life the way you want to. So get accustomed to the place, to the bed, to the chair which the person have used, and slowly and steadily, you start talking about the happy memories instead of the sad. The sad memories will still bring tears into your eyes, but the happy memories is something which will make you go through the bereavement process. And find other ways to get connected to the person, like their birthdays, their anniversaries, albums, pictures, any videotapes or anything. Just be connected to that person. That's what spirituality taught me. You can write letter. That is of something which I always say, that if you have something which you have not told to that person and the person has passed away, write letters and put it in flowing water. It is believed that it reaches the person. Okay. Don't rush. Restore your life very slowly and steadily. It takes time, and slowly over the period of time you would understand how to manage with your life in the absence of this person physically. All right, and get back to routine. So after a few weeks or something, start doing those things that you were doing before the person passed away, because that will help your brain to rewire and get back to normal life. Alright, so that's pretty much about that's pretty much about the bereavement process. And I hope I have been able to throw certain light, because a lot of people have contacted me with the grief issue, which has later become trauma. If you are not grieving properly, if you are not going through the bereavement process properly, it often results in long-lasting trauma, and that's even worse to deal with. So next time if somebody reaches out to you, just help them through the process. Be supportive. There will be people who will try to put you down. Just be supportive, be with them through the process, and I'm sure they will be able to get more help. Okay, so that's pretty much from my end. Thank you so much for your time, and we'll see you on Sunday on Facebook Live with Retro Night. Thank you everyone.